Yes. Okay. So, in the previous class, what are all the things we have discussed? Can anyone tell me? I mean, can anyone let me know in the chat box? Yes, in the previous class, what the things we have studied. Oogenesis. Very good. Yes, previous to the oogenesis, we have studied about the spermatogenesis. Yes, this was correct. That's also we have studied. So, finally, from the beginning of the chapter, what we have studied is that the systems, male and female reproductive systems, and the formation of sperm and the egg. Finally, we have seen that how actual egg is formed and how actual sperm is formed and what is the structure of egg and the sperm. All these things we have studied. Now, we are going to study one most important cycle which takes place only in the females. Okay, the most important cycle which is going to take place only in the females, that is what called the menstrual cycle. So, how many of you have idea to about this menstrual cycle? Just tell me. Yes, comparison between a sperm and womb, everything we have studied. Good, great. Actually, not good. I must say great for you guys. Is Shashikala raised a hand? Just yes, if you know, just let me know in the chat box. What do you know about a menstrual cycle? Yes, you know. What do you know? Yes, which is a bleeding phase. Menstrual cycle has a 4 phases. Yes, it's contrasting character of a primates. Yes, very good. It happens during our puberty. Okay, from the puberty, yes, ovulation takes place in the cycle. Yes, Raghavi, Sunil, Naveen, and yes, you guys are answering. That's great. And Reshma, it's a fluid which is a breaking of a layer, not allow copulation. Not actually, okay. Okay, whatever you know, you guys said. For the phases, 4 phases are 3 are there. Okay, sorry, menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, luteal phase. Great. So menstrual cycle is one of the cycle, especially it is going to take place only in the female primates. In the female primates. Like human males and sorry, human females and the ape females, they do have this. Yes, they do have the menstrual cycle. And what about the other animals? Yes, I have a slide for that. I'll show you that. But we are concentrating especially on the menstrual cycle. Okay, and as I told you, this is going to take place in the female primates like yes, baboons, apes, and the human females. Okay, so before going to that, here I have a question, and you have a 1 minute only. Menstruation occurs in amphibians, non-primates, primate mammals, all mammals, including a human. Yes, yes, yes. Time is running. 50 seconds more. See, to read the question, to read the options, to choose your answer, everything contains a 1 minute. Okay. I'll come to that. Who's that? Vera is asking a question. Yes, when females mature, males sometimes feels the stomach pain. Why? If you understand the complete process, then you'll get to know Vera. What's the time? Oh, it stopped. Okay. Whatever. Last 15 seconds more to answer. 10 seconds more. Only 64% of voting I can see in the poll. Yes, where are the others? Yes, I'm ending the poll, and yes, here you can see the results. The results are like this. 3% of the people have chosen option A, 6% of the people have chosen option B, 58% of the people have chosen option C, and 39% of the people have chosen option D. Stop sharing. Yes, I'm sure that you know the female primates have the menstruation. I mean, the female primates do contains the menstrual cycle. which means not the amphibians. Amphibians does not have the menstruation cycle. Even the non-primates not at all have the menstruation cycle. Yes, the primate mammals have this menstruation cycle, not the non-primates. Only the primate mammals have the menstruation cycle, like humans, apes, and so on. Okay. And the next question is that one lunar cycle equals to what? One lunar cycle equals to what? Or 28 days, 50 days, 365 days, 12 weeks. What do you think? What is the correct answer? Yes, come on. Yes, yes, answer quickly. Last 20 seconds. I'm ending the poll. And just give me a minute. Yes. Here are the results that 73% of the people have chosen option A, 20% of the people have chosen option B, and 9% people have chosen option C, and 2% people have chosen option D. So actually the lunar cycle means the 28 days. So why I have mentioned this question? What is the purpose of mentioning this question is that the menstrual cycle in the females occur in every 28 days. Yes, of course, a plus or minus 3 to 4 days, not a big deal. But normally we consider as every human female does contains, or every primate female does have her menstrual cycle in every 28 days. Okay, so now you got a point. Now you got a 2 point about menstrual cycle. One is that the menstrual cycle will happen only in a female primates, and that happens in a 28 days interval. Every 28 days interval does the female contains the cycle. Understand? Okay. Now, yes, in physics from Purnima to Purnima, yes, from a full moon to full moon, right? Full moon to full moon, approximately 30 days, isn't it? Okay, what is menstruation? What is menstruation? It's raining here. Okay. Just tell me what is menstruation? Am I audible? Hello, hello. It occurs in the uterus of a female. It starts in a puberty. Very good, Raghavi. Releasing of an unfertilized egg without a blood. Oh, sorry, with bloodstream bleeding. Okay. Removing of unfertilized egg. So, for our understanding, let me write that the menstruation is that is yes, rupturing of the endometrium wall. You know what is the endometrium wall? What is the endometrium wall? Where does it present? Where does the endometrium wall present? Wall of urethra. Who is that? Who is that? No, not the vaginal wall. That is the inner wall of uterus. Yes, most of you are saying correct. Inner wall of uterus is called as an endometrium wall. Yes, very good, Naveen. So that rupturing of, very good, uterine wall. Okay, so uterine wall or the inner wall of uterus, that is what called endometrium. Okay, as I told you, if you are if you are able to remember, so the uterus which contains the three layers, okay, the outer layer which is a fibrous, and middle layer which is a highly muscular, okay, perimetrium, myometrium, and inner to that there is a highly vascularized or highly contains a very much of blood vessels. That is what called endometrium wall, right? So that wall is going to be ruptured, and also the elimination of the secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte which is formed, that is going to be eliminated. That is what called the menstruation. This uterine wall ruptures, which means the endometrium containing more of blood vessels, if that's scrapped off, that is going to scrap off, what is going to happen? The high amount of blood will come from the vaginal opening, right? That is what called the menstruation, where it occurs. Yes, where it occurs, exactly where does it is going to have occur? In uterus, okay, in uterus, from uterus to the vagina, the menstruation, okay. And when it starts, come on, at puberty. Great, 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 great. At puberty. So this is about a menstruation or the menstrual cycle. Now I'm going to tell you one thing, that is a menarche. So menarche is a condition where the beginning of the menstruation cycle starts. Yes, as you all said that puberty is the age, or yes, puberty is the age when the female human or the female primate does have her first menstrual cycle, right? So that first menstrual cycle is called as a menarche. Understand? And at which stage or at which age actually the menarche will going to start? It occurs in the age of 12 to 15 years. So why I have mentioned it 12 to 15 years? Because 12 to 15 years is the age of puberty in the females. Exactly when you consider the female is in her puberty, then that is what called the menarche. Menarche is the beginning of the menstrual cycle. So you might have known this that in the previous days, yes, nowadays also people are doing that. If the female have her first menstrual cycle, then the parents or the relatives, they do a grand function. Yes, do you know that? Yes, right? Or they let everyone know about that. Yes, why do they do that? Because in the previous days, the marriages, I mean, early marriages are quite common, right? In the previous days, the early marriages are quite common. So, if the female have her menarche stage, or if any female have her first menses, or if any female who is having a first menstrual cycle, then the parents are let the village or let the world know that yes, the female is ready to carry a baby. Okay, that is what the people want to know the world. Okay, that is why usually in the previous days, in the years before or so many years before, what they used to do some functions like that. Voice is breaking sometimes. Is it Shishikala is saying my voice breaking, or is everyone feeling the same? No, voice is not breaking. It's clear. Okay, good. Sometimes. Okay. Sometimes. Maybe, yes, I told you, right? Here it's raining. Maybe that's maybe the offer a fees to the people. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But in the previous years, so many years back, what happens? Usually the child marriages are very quite common. That's why they do that. But nowadays it is not necessary, right? Is nowadays it's not absolutely necessary. It's what I feel. Okay. And before going to this, let me tell you one thing. Why the name called menstruation or menstrual cycle has came. Why that name actually came is that, so it came from a word called the mensum. The word called what? Mensum. Is what? Mensum. Something is wrong with this. Mensum means a month. The mensum meaning is that a month. That is why this is a cycle which is happening in every month. Based on that, they have given a name called a menstrual cycle or the menstruation. So menstrual cycle can also called as a ovarian cycle. This can also called as ovarian cycle. Ovarian cycle. Okay. And menarche, it is the beginning of menstruation cycle, and exactly which starts at the age of puberty, that is the age of 12 to 15 years. Next is that menstruation cycle. Where does it occurs? It occurs in the female primates, occurs in every lunar month. Every lunar month is that approximately 28 days. In every 28 days, this is going to happen. In every 28 days, this will happen. Okay. Navin, I didn't get you. And one ovum released in every cycle by a alternate ovary. As I told you, 1 minute, Reshma. We'll discuss that. So, as I told you already, one ovary is able to release a one egg in what I can say. Yes, one ovary is going to release a one egg in every month. See, every female does contains a two ovary, one on each side of at the abdominal cavity, right? So from 1 month, one ovary is going to release the egg, and the next month, the another ovary is going to release the egg, and the third month, like alternatively, the ovaries are going to release the egg one in a month. Okay, and the female body is designed in such a way the female can carry only not only one baby. Yes, the female can carry a one baby perfectly at a time. Perfectly, if we say perfectly, is the female baby can carry, sorry, the female can carry a baby perfectly, one baby perfectly at a time. And this menstrual cycle is controlled by the hormones. And as what are all those hormones? Is I'm going to explain you each and every pinpoint. Uh, just let me know. First, what happens? There is a menstrual cycle. That beginning of menstrual cycle is called as what? Menarche. And next, the menstrual cycle takes place for many years. As I told you, there are so many primary follicles, right? So till how many primary follicles are there, that till that time this is going to happen. Primates means a sunil, which involves the monkeys, apes, humans, all this comes in a primates. This is a class, one of the class in the animal kingdom. Okay, but about the twin babies at one time. Yes, that's what carpet between babies can happen. I'm not saying no, but perfectly designed for a one baby. Yes, the twin baby can happen. Sometimes voice is breaking. Okay. Now I'm going to explain you one thing here. Okay. How exactly the menstrual cycle takes place in the females. Okay. So before going to this, I would like to write here. Yes. Is my voice breaking? Uh, no. Okay, let me take four conditions. What are all the changes takes place in the female body during the menstrual cycle? Okay, and you know there are so many phases. Okay, just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, let me write the stages here itself so that it will be easy for us. Okay, yes, sometimes so that I'm going to turn off my video and then it will be okay, I guess. So there are four phases. One is that, yes, here, let me write here itself. The first phase is that menstrual phase. The first phase is that menstrual phase. So what is going to happen in the menstrual phase? That is actually the bleeding phase. This lasts for 4 to 5 days. This is going to last for 4 to 5 days. After a complete bleeding phase or the menstrual phase, what happens then? The primary follicles starts to develop. Okay, the primary follicle starts to develop and they starts to produce some enzyme. Okay, sorry, starts to produce some hormone. Because of the production of follicles, this stage is called as the follicular stage. Follicular stage or follicular phase. Okay, and this is last for 10 to 12 days. Okay, the 10th day to 12th day is called as a follicular day. See, if just imagine if any female who is going through her menstrual cycle, so the first day of the bleeding or the first day of a menstrual phase, what happens? Actually, the vaginal discharge takes place, right? So from that, we are going to consider a 1 day. Okay, so that may last for 3 to 5 days. That's why approximately I have written as a 4 to 5th day or 4 to 5 days. That is a menstrual phase. First day of a vaginal bleeding or first day of a vaginal discharge. From that to 5th day, just imagine. And then what happens? The primary follicles in the ovary starts to develop. That is what called the follicular phase. That may happen from a 10 to 12 days or approximately. And the third stage is that, or the third phase is that ovulation phase. So what, any guesses what can happen in the ovulation phase? Ovulation phase or ovulatory phase, any guesses? Yes, very good, very good. Not the egg. Actually, the secondary oocyte is going to be released. If you are able to remember the ovary structure, if you are able to remember the ovary structure, see, this is the structure of ovary. In the structure of ovary, what happens? The primary follicles starts to develop at the follicular phase. Okay, the primary follicle starts to develop at the follicular phase. Once the female stops her bleeding phase, then what happens? The follicular phase starts to develop. So finally, the corpus luteum will get developed at this stage only, at the follicular stage itself. The corpus luteum will develop, and exactly at the 14th day, if the female is having, yes, Rukmini, if the female is having the menstrual cycle in every 28 days, if at all she is having in every 28 days, then exactly at the 14th day, what is going to happen? The ovulation takes place, which means this secondary oocyte is going to be released. The secondary oocyte is going to be released. Okay, this is what called the ovulatory phase or ovulation phase. Always remember, ovulation is not the release of egg. Ovulation is the release of secondary oocyte. This is what you need to remember about. And the next one is that luteal phase. Say one thing here. After the releasing of the secondary oocyte, what is the next structure formed here? After the releasing of secondary oocyte, the next structure which is formed here is what? In the ovary. Very good. Not the uterine phase, that is a carpus luteum. Yes, carpus hemorrhagia, okay, but especially that is a carpus luteum. So next, all the functions will be taken over by the corpus luteum. So that phase is called as luteal phase. As the next, all the functions are taking over by the corpus luteum, we are going to call this stage is the luteal phase. Or this corpus luteum secretes a hormone, right? Very good, Raghavi. This corpus luteum secretes a hormone called the progesterone. That is why we can also call the luteal phase as a secretory phase. As the corpus luteum is secreting the progesterone, we can also call this as a secretory phase. Secretory phase. And this lasts for 15th day to 28th day. Okay. Yes, is that clear now? First, what happens? Just imagine if any female is going through a menstrual cycle, what happens? The first 3 to 5 days is the bleeding period, or you can also call that as a menstrual phase, right? After that, what happens? The follicle starts to develop. Okay, the follicles or the primary follicles, which you can see here, they starts to develop till the 13th day. And why I am mentioning the 13th day is because if at all the female is having her menstrual cycle exactly at a 28th day, then this may happen. But yes, not every female do contain or do have exact periods at, the menstrual cycle exactly at a 28th day. It alters plus or minus 2, 3, 4 days, right? So no need to worry if that happens. But for our better understanding, I am taking it 28 days as a standard one. Okay. So follicles will going to develop till the 13th day, whatever. And exactly at the 14th day, what happens? The secondary oocyte is going to release, and that secondary oocyte, and next the corpus luteum which forms, that secretes the progesterone. So that phase is called as a secretory phase or the luteal phase. From 15th day to 28th day, that is what considered as a luteal phase. Understand? So now let us see the changes which are going to take place in the uterus from the first day of the menstrual cycle till the 28th day of a menstrual cycle. What are all the changes takes place in the uterus, and then in the ovary, and then the changes in the hormones, and how the pituitary gland, as I told you, hormonal control, during the hormonal control I told you already, how the pituitary gland is going to produce the LH and FSH. Do you remember? FSH and LH are the hormones which are released by the anterior pituitary. Yes. How all these changes will take place from the day 1 to the day 28. That we will see now. Okay. Right. Let me take the changes here now. Okay, this is what the changes. Let us take all the changes one above the other. Okay, first change is that the changes in the uterine wall. The changes in the uterine wall. What are all the changes will take place in the first day to third day, or first day to fifth day, and sixth day to so on, we'll see in the uterine wall. And next is that ovarian hormones. Okay, so how the hormones are produced in the ovary, and how these hormones, ovarian hormones, how the ovarian hormones are going to be changed here. And then on that, what are all the changes in the ovary? Changes in ovary. And let me take the anterior pituitary somewhere here. Okay. Anterior pituitary. Okay. And let me draw the lines also. Oh, I'm turning off the chat box because so that I can get some space. Yes. Now. So I'm turning off the video and I'm turning off the chat box so that I can get the space here in the you're saying okay, no problem. So if you got doubts, you can ask me in the chat box, no problem. I can turn on the chat box. Yes. So these are the, let us see from the first day, what are the changes actually takes place. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Let me take a white color. Okay. First phase is what? What is the first phase? Yes. Answer me here. What is the first phase? What is the first phase? Yes, that is the menstrual phase. So what is going to happen in the menstrual phase? One minute. So in the menstrual phase, the bleeding takes place, which means the endometrium wall, which gets ruptured or which gets scrapped off, right? So this is what, yes, rupture of endometrium wall. This is what happens in the first phase. Let me take, this is a first phase, that is the menstruation phase. Okay. And I'm writing about this here. That is menstrual phase. So at the menstrual phase, what happens? The endometrium wall, which is going to be ruptured. The endometrium wall, which is going to be ruptured, and bleeding from the vagina takes place. Okay. And what about the ovarian hormones here? Yes, the white colored one, which I am drawing. Let me take the green color for the progesterone. Okay, this is what the progesterone. The progesterone level is very low at the menstrual phase. Okay, now this is what happens here. Low progesterone. Low progesterone. Okay, now this low progesterone is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary. Okay, the low progesterone in the females, that is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary. Now this anterior pituitary in the brain is going to release the hormone that is what called FSH. Understood? First, what happens during the menstrual phase? This endometrium wall is going to rupture and the progesterone level is very low. This low level of progesterone level is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary, and this anterior pituitary releases the hormone called FSH. Is that clear? Say yes in the chat box if it is clear. Yes. Okay, now what happens? This FSH means follicular stimulating hormone. Yes, Karthik, I'll repeat. FSH means follicular stimulating hormone. This, okay, Shashikala, this follicular stimulating hormone stimulates the primary follicles in the ovary. Okay, which means what? Now the changes in a ovary. Now these primary follicles are going to develop in a ovary. After the bleeding period in the females, what happens? The primary follicle starts to develop. Yes, Shashikala, Karthik, you can listen from here. See, this is easy. And finally, the Graafian follicle is also starts to develop. This is what? The Graafian follicle. Okay, this is what the Graafian follicle. Yes, all these Graafian follicles are going to develop with the help of which hormone? Now in the chat box, with the help of which hormone the Graafian follicles or all the primary follicles and Graafian follicles are going to develop with the help of the hormone called follicular stimulating hormone. Yes, very good. And this follicular stimulating hormone is released by follicular stimulating hormone is released by what? Follicular stimulating hormone is released by anterior pituitary. Yes, very good. And this anterior pituitary is stimulated by the low level of a progesterone. Okay, when the progesterone level is going to be very low, when the female is going through her menstrual phase, at that time the progesterone level is very low. The green colored line which I have drawn is a progesterone level. Okay, that low level of progesterone level stimulates the anterior pituitary in the brain, and then what happens? That releases a hormone called follicular stimulating hormone. This stimulates the follicles in the ovary. Okay, these primary follicles are going to develop as a Graafian follicle. This is what? The Graafian follicle. And this is the primary follicle. Right. And one more thing, the primary follicles releases a which hormone? Any idea? The primary follicles release the which hormone? The primary follicles now, no, Sunil, wrong. Very good, Naveen, Rukmini. So now these primary follicles, yes, Raghavi, very good. Primary follicles releases a hormone called estrogen. Okay, I'm drawing the estrogen hormone with the red color. Okay, as the primary follicles are very rich at this stage, this is what? Estrogen. This is what? The estrogen level. Okay, now estrogen. So this stage is called as what? This stage is called as what? This is the second phase, which approximately takes till 13th day in the female. This stage is called as what? Yes, this is what called the ovulatory phase. Sorry, follicular phase, not the ovulatory phase. Approximately till 13th day, it is going to take place. Yes, this is what? The follicular phase. So next is that follicular phase. Okay, as the estrogen level increases, now the repair of the uterine wall starts to develop. Now the uterine wall starts to repair itself. Okay, This is what the second one. Is that clear to everyone? Is there anyone who want me to explain again? Is this clear? So for your for your better understanding, let me explain you once again. For the during the menstrual cycle, what happens? The menstrual phase, the endometrium wall is going to be ruptured, and the bleeding from the vagina takes place. After that, what happens? The progesterone level is very low during that time. During the bleeding time, what happens? The progesterone level is very low. That low level of progesterone stimulates the anterior pituitary. This anterior pituitary releases a hormone called follicular stimulating hormone. This follicular stimulating hormone released by the brain is going to stimulate the ovary for the production of primary follicles. All these primary follicles are going to develop as a Graafian follicle with the help of the follicular stimulating hormone. So now these primary follicles, all the follicles are going to release the hormone called estrogen. Okay, with the help of estrogen, this ruptured endometrium wall starts to develop. This ruptured endometrium wall starts to develop or starts to repair itself. Is that clear? Is it clear now? Yes, good. I'm turning off this slide. Sorry, not the slide. Chat box so that I can get a space for a third and fourth one. Now what happens? This is what high amount of estrogen will takes place here, right? So the estrogen level is very high here. Now the second stage is that high level of estrogen. Now this high level of estrogen is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary again. This stimulates the anterior pituitary again, so that now the anterior pituitary decreases the follicular stimulating hormone, and it starts to secrete the hormone called a luteinizing hormone. Okay, are you getting my point? Now what happens? From the anterior pituitary, luteinizing hormone starts to secrete. Yes? Is that clear? Okay. Let me take another color for this LH. Okay, yes, let me take this color. Now what happens? This luteinizing hormone is going to increases. The luteinizing hormone increases at this stage. Okay, now what happens? Let me write, or let me take this. This Graafian follicle releases the secondary oocyte, isn't it? The Graafian follicle is going to releases the secondary oocyte with the help of this luteinizing hormone. This process is called as, yes, this process is called as what? Yes, this process is called as the ovulation. This is what? The ovulatory phase. Very good. This is what? The ovulatory phase. After the ovulatory phase, yes, ovulation phase or the ovulatory phase, whatever, both are same. So this is going to happen exactly at the LH surge, which means, so the high amount of luteinizing hormone which is taking place here, that will helpful in the release of the secondary oocyte. This is what called the LH surge. LH surge means high amount of the luteinizing hormone. Okay, this high amount of luteinizing hormone leads to the production of, or leads to the process called the ovulation, which is exactly taking place at the 14th day. Let me write, this is gonna take place at the 14th day. And now also this uterine wall starts to get more and more foldings. Along with that, it is going to get more and more blood vessels. Okay, after releasing, yes, regrowth we can say. And after releasing the secondary oocyte, what is the next structure which is going to form here? What is the next structure which is going to form here after the releasing of secondary oocyte? Somebody has turned on your video, just turn off your video. Yes, next what? The carpus luteum, which means the LH is going to release more and more. And now this carpus luteum, let me write. Carpus luteum. Yes, now what happens to this carpus luteum? Carpus luteum releases what? Yes, Raghavi, very good. Carpus luteum releases what? Raghavi, Rukmini, very good. Where are the others? Progesterone, yes. Bhavana, Swagatika, very good. Now this is going to release the progesterone. Okay, this progesterone is normal so far, a little bit high and low. But whenever the carpus luteum is present, now this is going to reach to its maximum. This is what? This is the progesterone. This is what? The progesterone. Okay. See, is it clear to everyone? Can I explain this once again? Can I explain this once again? This is now everything is clear. Can I explain this once again? Say yes if I want. You want me to explain once again? Yes. Okay. I'll explain this once again. Just have a concentration. Keep all the book pen aside and just have a look on the slide. What is going to happen from the day one? Okay. So during the bleeding period or during the menstrual phase, the endometrium wall, is there a, okay. During the menstrual phase, the endometrium wall is going to be ruptured and bleeding takes place in the female. At that time, the progesterone level is very low. Okay. Why? There is no carpus luteum here. That is why the progesterone level is very low. Due to the low level of progesterone that stimulates the anterior pituitary in the brain. That anterior pituitary is going to release the hormone called a follicular stimulating hormone. As the name is itself indicating that this FSH is going to stimulate the primary follicles in the ovary. So this change is going to take place in the ovary. All the primary follicles starts to develop and Graafian follicle is going to release. Okay. Now, these follicles will secrete the hormone called the estrogen. This estrogen, after during this phase called a follicular phase, the endometrium wall. This is what the endometrium wall. This endometrium wall is going to starts to regrow or it's going to repair itself. Okay. And then what happens? The high amount of estrogen which is secreted by the follicles, that high amount of estrogen is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary. Okay, this anterior pituitary starts working now. How it is going to work? It is going to decrease the production of follicular stimulating hormone because already one secondary oocyte has been produced. So no more secondary oocytes are required. That is why the FSH is going to decrease by the anterior pituitary and luteinizing hormone starts to increase. This luteinizing hormone acts on the Graafian follicle and the ovulation takes place at the 14th day because of the high amount of luteinizing hormone. This high amount of luteinizing hormone is called as a LH surge. After the releasing of luteinizing hormone, there is a structure called the carpus luteum which is present. This carpus luteum is going to secrete the hormone called the progesterone. Now, this high amount of progesterone is going to helpful for the high increase or highly vascularized or the formation of highly vascularized endometrium wall. After this, what happens if there is no fertilization? If there is no fertilization, what happens to the corpus luteum? If there is no fertilization, what is going to happen to the corpus luteum? Yes, great, great. This is going to degenerate. If the corpus luteum is going to degenerate, the production of progesterone decreases, isn't it? The production of progesterone decreases. If the production of progesterone decreases, which means the progesterone level gets low again, that leads to what? If the progesterone level becomes low, that leads to what again? That leads to the menstrual phase again, where the female is going to get her the menses, or female is going to get her periods. If if there is no fertilization, the corpus luteum gets ruptured or degenerates, then the progesterone level will become low. If there is a fertilization, the corpus luteum is not going to rupture. The corpus luteum is not going to rupture. Then what happens? The corpus luteum continuously produces a progesterone. Then the endometrium wall is not going to rupture at all. If the progesterone level is low, then only the endometrium wall is going to rupture. If the progesterone level is high, the endometrium wall is not going to rupture. Is that clear now? Yes or no? Click on yes. How many of you are clear with this? Click on yes. How many of you are clear with this? 8. This is easy, right? Yes. Raghavi, very good. Human chronic gonadotrophy. See, if you look at the image in the textbook, or if you directly look at the image or the graph in the book, then that may confuse you. But just read like this. This is what they have given in your textbook. Okay, this is what they have given in your textbook. This is easy. This is damn easy. So just take the screenshot. It may get erased. I'll add one more slide and I'll write and I'll send the notes. Just take a screenshot in your this. So I can't come back again. That's why I'm saying if you have any doubts, just ask me here itself. I can't come back to the slide again. Can I move the slide? Can I move to the next slide? Yes. Okay. Everyone have taken the screenshot, right? Good. Great. See, I'm moving. I can't come back to the slide. I'm saying once again, if anybody have any doubts, just stop me here and ask me. Yes. Next is that ovarian events. Yes, as we have studied already, just now I have told you, right? So what are all the ovarian events takes place during the menstrual phase, that is the 3 to 5 days? What is going to happen? Growing follicle. First, it starts to grow, and follicular phase, because of the FSH hormone, because of the follicular stimulating hormone, the Graafian follicle is going to develop. And then at the 14th day, the secondary oocyte, yes, Sajjan. The secondary oocyte starts to release. After the releasing of secondary oocyte, next, that is what called the ovulatory phase. And the next comes the luteal phase. During the luteal phase, what happens? This corpus luteum starts to produce a progesterone. Right here, what happens? Progesterone will produce. You understood, right? This progesterone is going to maintain the thickness of the endometrium wall, and finally the corpus luteum is going to degenerate, and the menstrual phase starts to produce again. This is what happens in every 28 days in the females. And next, uterine wall. During the menstruation, this is going to rupture here, you can observe. And the proliferative phase or the follicular phase, it starts to develop. And the secretory phase, here you can observe there are so many blood vessels. Secretory phase or luteinizing phase. Then hormonal events. Ovarian hormones are estrogen and progesterone. See, the progesterone is very low, but at the luteal phase, it is very high. Whereas the estrogen is high during the follicular phase. And at the same time, anterior pituitary hormones are follicular stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. The follicular stimulating hormone is high at the follicular phase, whereas next to that is the luteinizing hormone at the next stage, which is exactly at the 14th day. The luteinizing hormone reaches its peak, or LH surge is going to take place. Here what happens? LH surge will take place exactly at the 14th day. So all the events are going to take place exactly. Estradiol or estrogen, everything is one. See, the anterior pituitary is going to start to secretion at during the menstrual cycle, no, during the menstrual phase, and it increases at the follicular phase. See, just have a look on this slide. If anybody wants me to explain, I can explain you again. Corpus albicans, you can see it is in a corpus luteum here. Corpus albicans. Yes, surge means which it reach at its peak. Yes, can I move to next thing? Perfectly clear for Vidya. According to a graph. Oh, the body temperature. Yes, Naveen. See, during the ovulations, the females sometimes they can feel ovulation. If you observe, especially the girls, if you guys just observe what happens, the body temperature is also going to increase slightly during the ovulations. Okay, but not at the menses or not during the menstrual phase. But they feel sick at that time. Not a big deal. But yes, it reaches to body temperature, slight vary in the body temperature, not all the time, but yes. Okay. See, here is a question. Which hormone is common for both males and females? Now tell me which hormone is common for both males and females. Yes. I'm going to tell you if it is 1 minute. I'm going to tell you. No, Raghavi. Yes, time up and I'm ending the poll. See, the results are like this. 13% people have chosen option A, 26% people have chosen option B, 67% of the people have chosen option C, and 3% of the people have chosen option D. I'm stop sharing. See, estrogen and progesterone, they both are restricted in the human females, whereas the testosterone is restricted in the human males. But GnRH, what do you mean by GnRH? This is a gonadotrophin releasing hormone this is released by the hypothalamus. Okay. So this gonadotrophin releasing hormone is common in both males and females, which stimulates the releasing of sex hormone. Gonadotrophin releasing hormone which stimulates the releasing of sex hormones. That's it. Okay. And tell me one thing. Which hormone is responsible for the secondary sex characters in the female? Which hormone is responsible for the secondary sex characters in the female? Very good, Biswajit. Madhabi, yes, very good. Swagatika, very good. Sunil, yes. Sandhya, yes. So estrogen, yes, Channappa Gowda, correct. Estrogen is a hormone which is helpful for the production of secondary sex characters in the female, whereas in the males that is a testosterone. Okay. Yes, Karthik, Nikita, correct. During ovulation, ovum will be in the following stage: primary oocyte, secondary oocyte, tertiary oocyte, quaternary oocyte. I'm going to give you only 30 seconds for this. It's just this, come on, we don't have much time. Yes, great. That's great. I'm ending the poll and the results are like this. 19% of the people have chosen option A, 56% of the people have chosen option B, 14% of the people have chosen option C, 11% of the people have chosen option D. I'm stop sharing the results. Yes, the secondary oocyte, right? The ovulation, during the ovulation, what is going to happen? The secondary oocyte, because of the LH surge, the secondary oocyte is going to release, right? So the phases are menstrual phase, not the menstrual cycle, that is menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and the luteal phase. Menstrual phase or the bleeding phase, what is going to happen? Reduced LH level, there is no luteinizing hormone, and degeneration of corpus luteum, reduced progesterone and estrogen, endometrium breaks, and this lasts for 3 to 5 days. Whereas in the follicular phase or a proliferative phase, anterior pituitary releases the follicular stimulating hormone that stimulates the what I can say, ovary. In the ovary, especially the primary follicle starts to develop and they produce estrogen. That estrogen and the changes takes place with the help of this estrogen in the uterus is that proliferation of endometrium, increased uterine glands and the blood vessels. This may last for 6 to 13 or 14 days. And next is the ovulatory phase or ovulation exactly takes place at the 14th day, where follicular stimulating hormone is going to get decreased and luteinizing hormone is going to increase. And finally the luteal phase, where the corpus luteum releases the progesterone. This progesterone help in the thickening of endometrium wall, and also uterine glands become secretory, where the glands are going to secrete at this phase. This is going to last for 15 to 28 days. Yes, both are same. Estrogen, ESTRO, OESTRO, both are same. And ovulation is the result of what? That is the result of LH surge, as we know already. And the hormonal control, just you need to know about this. The hypothalamus, we know hypothalamus is called as what? Hypothalamus is called as what? Anyone? Anterior pituitary is called as a master gland. Yes, very good. Hypothalamus is going to called as a master of master gland, right? So this master of master gland releases gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Let me write this. This is going to release gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Releasing hormone. Okay, this gonadotropin releasing hormone is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary produces follicular stimulating hormone and also releases the luteinizing hormone. Okay, and this follicular stimulating hormone stimulates the follicles, and these follicles are going to release the hormone called estrogen, which is leads to the proliferation phase. And this LH, which is released by the anterior pituitary, acts on the carpus luteum. Here somewhere ovulation also takes place. This carpus luteum releases the progesterone and then leads to the secretory phase. Okay, is this clear how hormones are going to control? Now, the menstrual phase, reduced estrogen and progesterone, both are going to reduce. In the proliferative phase, estrogen is a high. In the ovulation, LH is high. In the secretory phase, progesterone is high. And the last one is that menopause. Pause means what? Pause. Pause means what? Stop. Menopause means stopping of the menstrual cycle. Menarche is the starting of menstrual cycle. Menopause is the stopping of menstrual cycle. Okay, menstrual cycle is going to stop at the age of 45 to 55 years. Why the menstrual cycle will get stopped? Why? Because the females are running out of a follicles. The females, as I told you, the follicle number is a fixed when the baby born, or when they come at the age of puberty, the follicle number is a fixed. According to the female, yes, we know it's a different in a female to female, right? Few females are going to stop their menopause or stop their menstrual cycle at the 45, or few are at 50, few are at 55. It depends exactly because of the number of the follicles present in their body. So what are all the changes takes place in the females during the menopause? Changes. Okay, first, decrease in estrogen level, decrease in estrogen level, decrease in estrogen level, and what's wrong with this? Estrogen, and also hot flushes. Okay, in a few females, what happens? The body becomes a heat, right? That is what called a hot flushes you can see in the females, and the mood swings. And the menopause is not the sudden process. Okay, if any female who is undergoing the menopause, it is not a sudden. If the follicles are empty, okay, this is the last month. From the next month, the female is not going to get her menses. No, that's not the process. This is a gradual process taking place in the females, and the mood swings also happens. Okay, hot flushes. And in some females, what happens, the few hair appears on the body. Okay, because of the changes in the estrogen, what happens, hair growth, hair growth on face, hair growth on face because of the low level of estrogen, and in a few females baldness also happens. And what happens, in the females also a little amount of testosterone is produced, a very little amount of testosterone is produced. So that testosterone is masked by this estrogen. If that testosterone, sorry, this estrogen is decreases suddenly, then what happens? There are some chances in very rare females. I mean, in very few females, there are chances a little amount of testosterone also starts to. Okay, understand this is about the menopause. What are all the changes takes place in the female? So there are so many changes. So one of you have asked me why the cramps or why the pains do the female feel during her menses, right? Why? Because see, the endometrium wall, which is very thick at the end of the 28th day, the endometrium wall is very thick. So by the rupturing, during the process of rupturing the endometrium wall, that may happen. And the first menstruation is also known as what? Menopause, primary menstruation periods. Yes, answer in the chat box. Yes, yes, very good, very good, super. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, answer in the chat box. We have 1 minute. W, Manjunath, where is W? Yeah. Yes, good. Somebody said C. Yes, here only say that's no problem. Okay, Raghav. Okay, yes, the correct option is that the menarche. Menarche is the correct option. As you already know. So she is asking me to show this hormonal control. Yes, Raghavi, have a look here. Okay, or you can take a screenshot of it. Last one is that menstrual disorders and absence of a menstruation. In most of the females, the menstruation is absent. That is what called amenorrhea. If that has happens more than many months, so many months, it is, if the female are not getting her periods properly, that is considered as a amenorrhea. But in the pregnant females, yes, it happens. The menstrual cycle is not going to take place. But apart from the pregnant females, if the female is not having the proper menstrual cycle in every month, that she is considered as the amenorrhea. And dysamenorrhea is that the painful menstruation. Yes, the normal pain, there is a pain which is felt by every woman, but there are few women who have so much of pain during her menstrual cycle, or not exactly the menstrual cycle, during her menstrual phase. That is called as a dysamenorrhea. Yes, that kind of females has to consult their doctors. And next one is that menorrhea, which means excessive menstruation or excessive bleeding takes place in the females. These are all the very common diseases or very common disorders all the females do have. Okay. So what are all the disorders? Amenorrhea, dysamenorrhea, and menorrhagia. Okay. So Sunil, yes, we'll discuss that. Just give me a minute. Let me complete this one cycle called as a estrous cycle. So apart from a, primate females, apart from primate females, all animals or all other animals exhibit the estrus cycle. Okay, and there are some animals who exhibit the estrus cycle only once in a year. Those are called the monoestrus, like example deers. Okay, deers, they do have a heat period only once in a year called a one estrus cycle. And in a few animals like a cats, dogs, they have a twice in a year called bioestrus, and polyestrus like a rats and pigs, guinea pigs, they have a many times that those are called the polyestrus. Okay, and cows have the heat period. Bhagesh, you were asking about a cow, right? So the cow is also having a heat period that lasts only for 18 hours. Within that 18 hours only, the cow has to undergo the copulation. Then only there are the possibilities of getting conceived of that cow. Okay. Fertilization leads to what? Yes, I'm launching a poll here. Mitosis, gamete, meiosis, zygote formation. Just quickly answer. Yes, great. No, Veda, no. Check your answer. Fertilization leads to what? Which means after the fertilization, what is the result? That's what the question. No, Lavanya. That's why I'm explaining the question. After the fertilization, what is going to form? Okay, I'm ending the poll, and the results are like this: 5% of the people have choose option A, 18% of the people have choose option B, 3% of the people have choose option C, and 78% of the people have choose option D. That's good. Yes, the fertilization leads to a structure called a zygote. Okay, not the mitosis or not the gametes. Okay. And one more thing I just forgot to tell you here in the estrus cycle, see, whereas in the menstrual cycle, the endometrium wall is going to rupture in every month. What about here in the estrus cycle? Any idea? What about here in the estrus cycle? Very good, Biswajit. That is going to reabsorb. Yes, Swagatika. So in the estrus cycle, the endometrium wall or the all the animals which are undergoes the estrus cycle, where this is going to be reabsorbed. No, it is not going to be thick throughout the year. It is going to be reabsorbed again and again. Okay. Yes. This is what the homework is, that collect the information about maintaining a hygienic condition during the menstruation. Everyone has to know this, and read a menstruation and hormonal effects. Solve a module questions based on the menstruation. Okay. Yes, if you have got any doubts, just ask me. Which one? Which one? Biswajit. So do answer follicular phase. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you, Swati. Just answer in the poll. Once again, the hormonal control. Okay, Channappa Gowda, see, hormonal control is that first hypothalamus, which actually stimulates the brain. It releases the so many hormones, but as we are studying about the menstrual cycle, we are going to see the gonadotropin releasing hormone. So hypothalamus is releasing the gonadotropin releasing hormone, that is going to stimulate the anterior pituitary in the brain. Now the anterior pituitary releases the two hormones. One is a follicular stimulating hormone, another one is the luteinizing hormone. This follicular stimulating hormone stimulates the follicles in the ovary, and those follicles grow and they release the estrogen, and this estrogen or this phase is called as a proliferation phase. And the next hormone released by the anterior pituitary is that luteinizing hormone. That luteinizing hormone acts on the Graafian follicle for the ovulation, and it also acts on the corpus luteum to release the progesterone. Understand? Thank you, Sojanya. Oof. Understand the class very clearly. Yes, Raghavi, thank you. Thank you, Shanta. And one more thing, maintaining the hygiene during the periods or during the menstruation is very, very necessary in the females. Okay. And yes, there are so many products available in the market, but yes, need not to use all those products. Yes, proliferation slide, where is that? Yes. For the vaginal cleaning, that is a we wash all those things. Yes, no need to use all those things, but just to keep the place hygiene, healthy with the normal water. That is what. Okay, thank you. Sudharani will try. Yes, we are trying to that. Just give us a week. Give us a week time, then we'll upload all the videos. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. I'm going to upload this notes after 6:30. Okay. Thank you, Lavanya. Thank you, Sudharani. Thank you, Raghavi. Thank you, Akshita. Thank you, Channapagoda. So can I end the class? Is there anyone to ask a question? Sunil, you have asked me a question. Sorry, I forgot. Just can you ask me again? Bye, bye, Shishikala. Thank you. Sunil, are you there? Yeah. This Raghavi. Sunil is not there. Went off. Okay, this can we end the class? 4:30 already. We have another class at 5 again. Bye.